The sky over Musutafu was a clean blue. It was the kind of day where kids begged for ice cream and office workers complained about the sun. Traffic moved. Billboards played hero ads on loop. Somewhere, a school bell rang. Then the light above the city bent in a way it should not. A thin line appeared in the air, like a crack on glass. It widened in one sharp breath. A circle of white-blue opened, and the wind around it screamed. People on the street looked up. Some pointed. Most froze. Something fell out of the opening. A girl in a cape. She spun once, fast, like her body was fighting a new set of rules. Her boots caught air that was not there. She steadied herself in midair as if she had been doing it her whole life. For one heartbeat, she just hovered, eyes wide, taking in the city below. A second later, the ground shook. A fuel truck had smashed through a barrier 2 blocks away. It skidded sideways, sparks flying. A smaller car was pinned in front of it, crumpled like a can. People ran in every direction. A traffic light pole snapped and started to fall toward a crowd. The caped girl's face changed. The surprise vanished. The focus arrived. She moved. To the people watching, she did not fly so much as vanish and reappear. One moment she was high above the street. The next she was under the falling pole, one hand up. The metal stopped dead. She set the pole down with care, like it was made of paper. Then she turned and faced the fuel truck. The driver's door was jammed. Flames licked at the wheels. The smell of fuel was sharp, heavy, wrong. The girl placed her hands on the side of the truck and pushed. The truck slid away from the crushed car with a groan. Asphalt cracked. The wheels squealed. But it moved, clean and controlled, like she was guiding it on rails. A man in the crowd screamed, "It's going to blow." "I know," the girl said, voice calm but loud enough to cut through panic. "Back up. Keep moving." She didn't look away from the fire. Her eyes narrowed. A thin red line flashed from her gaze. Not wild, not wide. It was tight, careful. The heat cut a seam through a burning cable and sealed a leak at the same time. The flame dipped. The worst of it died down, as if someone had shut a valve. Then she crouched, hooked her fingers under the crushed car, and lifted. The car rose. Not jerky, not shaking, just up. A woman inside sobbed. A child's small hand pressed to a window. "It's okay," the girl said, and her voice softened. "I've got you." She set the car down on open street like it was brand new. She peeled the door back without ripping it off. She made space. She helped the woman and child out with gentle hands. Phones were everywhere now. People filmed from behind signs and benches. The fear in their eyes was fighting with something else. Awe. A siren wailed nearby, then another. Pro-heroes arrived fast, because that was what this city did. A man in a black capture scarf landed first, moving like a shadow. His hair was messy. His eyes were tired, sharp, and already judging. Shota Aizawa. He took in the scene in one sweep. The fuel truck, the civilians, the girl hovering a meter off the ground, cape stirring in the wind. His scarf twitched like it wanted to strike. Then a blast of hot air rolled over the street as a tall man stepped forward, fire pouring off his shoulders. Endeavor. His eyes locked onto the stranger. His jaw tightened. In this world, power was measured, ranked, owned by names and records. And here was someone with power that did not fit any file. Endeavor raised a hand. "Unknown individual," he called, voice hard. "State your name and your quirk. Now." The girl blinked. She glanced at the crowd, at the child clinging to the woman's leg, at Aizawa's steady stance. She lowered herself slowly, boots touching the ground without a sound. "My name is Kara," she said after a beat. "I'm not here to hurt anyone." "That doesn't answer the question," Endeavor snapped. Aizawa didn't shout. He didn't need to. "You came out of the sky. You stopped a disaster. Good, but you're not licensed. That matters here." Kara's brows pulled in. "Licensed?" "Hero license," Aizawa said. "It's the law." Kara opened her mouth, then paused. She looked past them, eyes unfocusing for half a second, like she was listening to something far away. A distant scream, a siren, a building alarm. Her head turned without thought. Aizawa saw it. His gaze sharpened, his eyes flashed. His quirk activated. In this world, that usually made powers shut off like a switch. Kara didn't change at all. She stayed standing. She kept breathing. The air around her didn't drop her like gravity had suddenly remembered her. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. His mouth tightened into a thin line. "No, quirk," he murmured, more to himself than anyone else. Endeavor's flames flared higher. "Then what are you?" Kara's hands curled into fists, not in threat, but in restraint. "I'm not sure how to explain it fast." More police arrived. More heroes. The crowd was being pushed back. A helicopter circled overhead. Kara's gaze tracked the helicopter, and for the first time since she arrived, a flicker of worry showed. Not fear of being hurt, fear of being misunderstood. Aizawa lifted one hand, palm out. "You're coming with us," he said, peacefully. "We need answers." Kara looked at the civilians again. She looked at the child, now staring at her like she was a storybook. Kara took a slow breath. "Okay," she said, "but if someone's in danger..." "We handle it," Endeavor said. Kara's eyes hardened for a moment. "So do I." Aizawa's scarf shifted, ready to bind. "We'll talk somewhere controlled." Kara nodded once. "Fine." High above the city, unseen by any camera, the air shimmered for a fraction of a second. Something small and metallic, no bigger than a fist, blinked with a cold blue light. It turned, as if it had heard a signal. And far away, in a hidden place where screens never slept, a graph spiked straight up. A calm voice in the dark said, "That wasn't a quirk." The ride to the facility was tense in a quiet way. Kara sat in the back of an armored van, hands folded in her lap like she was trying to look harmless. It did not work. Not when the metal walls around her felt thin. Not when she could hear every heartbeat in the vehicles around her. Aizawa sat across from her. He did not blink much. His eyes kept drifting to her hands, her posture, the way she held still like she was holding down a storm. Endeavor followed in another vehicle, because of course he did. His pride would not allow him to be left out of something this big. Kara watched Musutafu pass by through a narrow window. Tall buildings, clean streets, hero posters, children in uniforms. It looked like a normal world that had built itself around the idea that superpowers were normal. She had seen many worlds. This one felt like it had rules carved into it. When they arrived, Kara expected a bunker. She expected a military base. Instead, she was led into a place that felt like a school. A big one, with clean halls and wide doors and a strange mix of warmth and tension. UA High School. She didn't know the name yet, but she felt the eyes. Students peeked from corners until teachers shooed them back. A few braver ones stared openly. Kara kept her chin up. She didn't want to look afraid. But her chest felt tight. She had fallen into worlds before. She had fought monsters and aliens and gods. This was different. This was being studied. They brought her to a room that looked part lab, part meeting space. Cameras in corners, thick glass on one side, medical tools and scanners that hummed softly. A small animal-like figure waited at the head of a table. Sipping tea like this was a normal afternoon. He smiled. "Welcome," Principal Nezu said. His voice was light, almost cheerful. His eyes were not. They were sharp, bright, and full of math. Kara blinked. "You talk." Nezu's smile widened. "In our world, many things talk. Please, sit. I promise we prefer calm solutions." A man stepped into the room behind Nezu, and the air shifted. Kara's eyes went wide. He was tall, broad. His posture was easy, but it carried weight. His smile was like a sunrise. All Might. Kara didn't know his name, but she knew the type. She had seen it before. The symbol, the one people believed in. Her shoulders loosened a fraction. All Might raised a hand in greeting. "Young lady," he said, warm and booming. "Thank you for saving lives today." Kara swallowed. "I had to." "I know," All Might said. and I respect it. Aizawa stayed near the wall, arms crossed, eyes half-lidded, like he could fall asleep at any moment and still catch every detail. Nezu gestured to a chair. "We have a few questions," he said. "Simple ones first." Kara sat. The chair creaked, not because she was heavy, but because she was tense. Nezu nodded to a technician behind glass. Machines clicked. A screen lit up with lines and numbers. "Name?" Nezu asked. "Kara," she said. After a pause, she added, "Kara Zor-El." Aizawa's eyes sharpened at the second part. "Age?" Nezu asked. Kara hesitated. "Older than I look, but not old." Nezu chuckled softly. "Fair." "Quirk?" Nezu asked. Kara took a breath. "I don't have a quirk." Endeavor's voice came through a speaker from another room, sharp as a blade. "Liar." Kara glanced toward the speaker. "I'm not lying." Aizawa spoke, calm and blunt. "My erasure didn't affect you." Nezu tapped his cup. "So if it isn't a quirk, what is it?" Kara stared at her hands. The skin looked normal. It always did. People always forgot what it could do until they saw it. "I'm not from this world," she said. Silence held for a beat. All Might's smile didn't fade, but it softened. "That is a big claim," he said gently. "I know," Kara replied. Nezu leaned forward a little. "Where are you from?" Kara's throat tightened. She didn't say Krypton right away, not because she wanted to hide, but because saying it always hurt. She forced the words out anyway. "A planet called Krypton," she said. "It's gone." All Might's face changed. The warmth stayed, but the sadness appeared underneath. Kara continued, each sentence short, clean, like stepping stones across a river. "I was sent away as a child," she said. "I grew up in a different place. I learned to help people. I became a hero." Endeavor's voice cut in again. "Hero is a job here." Kara's eyes narrowed. "Hero is a choice where I'm from." Aizawa's expression did not change. "You can still hurt people with a choice." Kara looked at him. She saw the tiredness, the caution, the responsibility that never turned off. She respected it, even if it annoyed her. Nezu raised a paw. "Let's test something harmless," he said. "We need to understand what you can do." Kara exhaled. "Okay." The lab door opened. A platform was rolled in with weights and reinforced material, thick metal blocks, a pressure sensor. Nezu spoke like he was ordering tea. "Please lift that block." Kara walked over. She crouched, slid her fingers under the edge, and lifted. The block rose smoothly. The sensor screamed numbers that jumped too fast. Technicians gasped behind glass. Kara set it down gently. "I can lift more," she said. "We believe you," Nezu replied, still smiling. All Might stepped closer. "How did you fly?" he asked. Kara glanced up. "I just do." Aizawa watched her face. "That's not an answer." Kara's cheeks warmed. "I don't have the science words for it. It's natural to me." Nezu nodded. "Then we will find the science words." He motioned again. "One more test. Durability." Kara stiffened. "No." All Might blinked. "No?" Kara shook her head. "If you hit me with something strong, you might break your own equipment. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm trying to stop you from wasting your time." Endeavor's laugh came through the speaker, sharp and ugly. "So you're invincible." Kara looked toward the speaker. "I can be hurt, but not by most things." Aizawa's eyes were flat. "That's exactly why we're worried." The room held tension like a tight wire. All Might stepped between it, not physically, but with presence. "We will not treat you like an enemy," he said. "Not unless you give us a reason." Kara's shoulders dropped a little. "I won't." Nezu's smile turned softer. "Then we must talk about how our society works," he said. "Because you saved people today, but you also created a problem." Kara frowned. "A problem?" Aizawa answered. "You acted without license. The public saw you. The media saw you. The commission will demand control." Kara stared. "Commission?" Nezu's eyes glittered. "Public safety." They manage heroes. They manage fear. They will want you in a box they can label. Kara's jaw tightened. She had been labeled before. Alien, weapon, threat. She hated it. A knock came at the door. A man walked in with wings folded neatly behind him, smile easy, eyes sharp. Hawks. "Hey," he said, like he was dropping by a friend's house. "So this is our sky visitor." Kara watched him. He felt like wind, like movement, like someone who could smile while deciding 10 things at once. Hawks tipped his head. "You did a good thing," he said, "but the world doesn't always clap for good things. We need to help you." Fit. Kara's brows knit. Fit. Hawks shrugged. License. Supervised work. Maybe a hero name later. Less panic. Kara took a slow breath. She could hear a siren far away. It wasn't even in this part of the city. She could hear it anyway. Her body wanted to move. Instead, she stayed still. "Someone is in trouble," she said quietly. Aizawa's eyes flicked up. "Where?" Kara hesitated. If she told them, she would be admitting how much she could hear, how much she could know. But someone might die. "It's 3 streets east," she said. A building alarm. Screaming. A child. Hawk's smile faded. "How do you know that?" Kara didn't answer. She didn't have time. All Might turned. "I'll go," he said at once. Aizawa moved too. "I'm coming." Hawks lifted a hand. "I'll handle PR. Don't let cameras catch the wrong thing." Nezu's voice stayed calm. "Kara, please remain here." Kara stood so fast the chair scraped. "I can help." Aizawa's capture scarf slid forward a few centimeters, like a warning. "No." Kara froze, fists clenched. For a second the room felt too small. All Might looked back at her, and his voice softened. "Young Kara," he said, "you can help. But if you do it wrong here, you might make it worse for everyone." Kara swallowed hard. Her eyes stung with anger she didn't want. "You want me to sit while a kid screams," she said. "I want you to learn how to save people in this world," All Might replied. "So you can keep saving them tomorrow." Kara's shoulders shook once, like she was holding back a shout. Then she forced herself to nod. "All right," she said, voice tight. "But hurry." They left. The door shut. Kara stood alone in a room full of humming machines and watching cameras. She stared at the wall. She listened. Minutes felt like hours. Then the door opened again, and the tension in the hall told her the mission was done. All Might returned first. He smiled, but it was tired. "The child is safe," he said. Kara's breath left her in one long exhale. "Good." Aizawa looked at her like he was measuring a storm. "You held back," he said. "That was the right choice." Kara didn't smile. It felt wrong. Nezu set his tea down. "Welcome to being a hero under law," he said gently. Kara stared at him. "Where I'm from, people don't need permission to help." Hawks leaned against the wall, casual again. "Yeah," he said. "But here, permission is how we stop the wrong people from calling themselves heroes." Kara's eyes narrowed. "And does it work?" No one answered right away. That silence told her enough. Nezu tapped a button. A screen showed a simple document with many lines. Hawks pointed at it like it was a joke. "So," he said, "first step, temporary supervision agreement." Kara blinked. "That's a lot of words." Aizawa's mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Almost. Get used to it." Kara groaned before she could stop herself. "I crossed worlds to fight evil, and you're handing me paperwork." All Might chuckled, warm again. "You are adapting already." Kara sighed and leaned over the screen. Her eyes moved fast. She could read it in seconds. But that didn't make it less annoying. She signed, because the kid had lived, and because she needed to keep helping. Nezu's expression stayed kind, but his voice lowered. "Kara," he said, "there is one more thing." "What?" she asked. Nezu nodded toward the tech team behind glass. "When you arrived, our sensors recorded an unusual signal." Kara's skin prickled. "Signal?" Aizawa spoke. like something noticed you. Kara's stomach tightened. She had felt it, too, in the back of her head, like a faint radio tone that did not belong. A soft, thin sound brushed her hearing. Not in the building. Not even in the city. Higher. Farther. Kara's gaze lifted toward the ceiling as if she could see through it. Hawks watched her face closely. "You hear it, don't you?" Kara's voice came out quiet. "Yes." All Might's smile faded into seriousness. "What is it?" Kara swallowed. "I don't know." But deep inside, she had a terrible guess. Something out there. Something that remembered Krypton. And it had just been told she was alive. The first strike happened the next morning, like it was time to prove a point. Deku was on his way to class when every screen in the hallway flashed a red alert. Sirens wailed. Teachers ran. Students froze, then moved, training taking over. Kara was in a supervised room on the campus, staring at another form on a tablet, trying not to look like she wanted to crush it. Aizawa stood nearby, arms crossed, coffee in hand, looking like he had slept 5 minutes. Kara glanced up. "What now?" Aizawa's phone buzzed. His eyes narrowed. "Multiple incidents," he said. 3 locations. Same minute. Kara's head tilted. She listened. She heard distant booms, screams, cracking stone, a train horn that wouldn't stop. Her body tensed like a spring. Aizawa raised a hand. "Wait for orders." Kara's jaw clenched. "People are going to die." "They won't," Aizawa said, and his voice was hard because he needed it to be. "Not if we do this right." Hawks's voice came through a speaker in the room, smooth and fast. "We've got villains on the bridge, a hostage situation near the shopping district, and something tearing up a power station." Kara frowned. "Shopping district?" Hawks ignored the word and kept going. "This is organized, too organized." Nezu's voice followed, calm like a chess player. "They want to test Kara." Kara's eyes narrowed. "Who?" Aizawa's expression darkened. "All for One." Kara didn't know the name, but she felt the weight behind it, like saying it made the room colder. All Might burst into the room in a rush, already in hero mode, face set. "Kara," he said, "we need you." Kara stepped forward at once. "Tell me where." All Might looked at Aizawa, and Aizawa gave one short nod. "Under supervision," Aizawa said. "We do not let the cameras turn this into a disaster." Kara didn't argue. That was the difference now. She was learning the rules, even when they tasted wrong. They moved fast. A helicopter took them above the city. Kara stood in the open doorway with a harness on her waist that felt pointless. Wind hammered her cape. Her eyes scanned the skyline. Below, chaos bloomed in 3 directions. On the bridge, a thick, gray-skinned monster with stitches across its body slammed cars into a pile like toys. People screamed and tried to run, trapped by blocked lanes. At the power station, smoke curled upward, and a second creature with too many arms ripped at steel supports. Near the shopping district, armed villains held civilians in a tight cluster, laughing, cameras on them like it was a show. Kara's fists clenched. All Might's voice was steady beside her. "We divide," he said. "Endeavor is on the bridge already. Hawks is near the hostages. I will go to the power station." Kara pointed at the bridge. "The cars are piling up. Fuel. Fire risk. I can clear it fast." Aizawa's eyes were on her. "Do not throw the monster into the city." "I won't." Kara snapped, then softened. "I won't." All Might nodded. "Go." Kara jumped. She dropped like a stone for 1 second, then caught the air and shot forward. The bridge rushed up at her. Wind tore at her hair. Her eyes tracked every moving person, every vehicle, every piece of falling metal. She arrived in a blink. Endeavor was already there, flames roaring, punching the stitched monster back from a crowded bus. His fire burned bright, but the monster didn't fall. It just grinned, saliva hanging, eyes blank. Endeavor glanced at Kara, and pride and anger flashed across his face. "Stay out of my way," he barked. Kara didn't answer. She wasn't here for his pride. She moved. In one smooth motion, she flew low, slid under a falling chunk of concrete, and caught it in one hand. She carried it to the side and set it down like a brick. Then she grabbed 2 smashed cars and lifted them away from trapped civilians, placing them in safe lines on the bridge shoulder. People stared at her. Some screamed, some cried, some filmed. The stitched monster lunged at her, fast, arms swinging like clubs. Kara turned, planted her feet, and caught its fist. The shock of impact cracked the road under her boots. The monster's eyes widened, just a little, like it hadn't expected resistance. Kara's grip tightened. "Stop," she said, voice low. The monster snarled and tried to pull away. Kara didn't yank. She didn't fling. She simply stepped forward and pushed. The monster slid backward across the bridge, heels scraping sparks from metal, like it was on ice. Endeavor paused, flames flickering with surprise. Kara lifted her other hand and tapped the monster's chest with 2 fingers. Not a punch, a tap. The monster's body flew backward anyway, slamming into a support pillar and denting it. Civilians gasped. Kara's eyes snapped to the pillar. It held. She exhaled. Control, she told herself. Small, clean. The monster shook its head, then roared and charged again. Kara rose into the air, just above it. She spun behind, grabbed its shoulders, and pulled it upward, away from cars, away from people. She lifted it into the open sky above the river beside the bridge, where there was nothing to hit but water. The monster thrashed, and for a moment it looked like a child fighting a parent's hold. Kara's face hardened. "Who sent you?" she demanded. The monster only laughed, mouth too wide. A small drone zipped past Kara's shoulder. She barely saw it. Barely. It wasn't one of MHA's usual machines. It was sleek, strange, and cold-looking. A blue light blinked on it like an eye. Kara's stomach dropped. The faint radio tone in her skull sharpened. The drone's light flashed again, and then something hit her senses like a punch. Not her skin, her hearing, her sight, her balance. For half a second, the world tilted. The monster ripped free and slammed its elbow into her ribs. It would have shattered a normal person. Kara barely moved, but the hit pushed her sideways in the air. Her eyes narrowed. What was that? The drone spun and fired a second pulse. Kara's vision blurred at the edges. Endeavor's voice roared up from the bridge. "Kara!" Kara forced her eyes to focus. She tracked the drone. It was small, but fast. Too fast for normal tech. And it was tuned to her. Kara's jaw clenched. She shot forward, grabbing the drone in one hand. It buzzed violently, like it wanted to cut her palm. It did nothing. Her grip didn't break. She squeezed. Not enough to crush it into dust, enough to stop it. The drone's light flickered. Then it pinged one last time, like a message sent. Kara's heart sank. Somebody now knew she could catch it. Below, the stitched monster dived toward the bridge again. Kara didn't chase it blindly. She scanned. People were still trapped. One truck was leaking fuel. If that ignited, Kara shot down, not at the monster first, but at the fuel leak. Her eyes flashed red. Heat vision cut the cracked hose and sealed the metal in one controlled line. The leak stopped. Then she moved to the monster. It swung at a car full of screaming people. Kara grabbed the bumper and yanked the car backward out of range, then stepped into the monster's next swing and caught it again. "Enough," Kara said. She struck once. A clean punch to the monster's stomach. The air boomed. The monster rocketed upward and splashed into the river like a meteor. Water exploded. Cameras caught it. Endeavor stared at the river, then at Kara, anger and awe fighting on his face. Kara didn't look at him. She listened again. The hostage situation. A child crying. A gun cocking. Kara's head snapped toward the shopping district. "I'm going," she said. Aizawa's voice crackled in her ear through the comm. "No, Hawks is there. That's a trap." Kara's throat tightened. Someone's about to die. All Might's voice came through, strained with effort and urgency. "Kara, there's another device here. They're coordinating. It's not just villains. It's tech." Kara hovered for a fraction of a second, fists clenched, eyes darting. She could hear too much. That was the curse of it. She could be aware of suffering across a whole city. She forced herself to choose. "Hawks," she said into the comm, "tell me exactly what you see." Hawks responded instantly. 6 villains in a tight ring, civilians in the center. They want you to rush in and look scary on camera. There are drones above, not ours. Kara's eyes narrowed. "How many drones?" "3, Hawks said. 2 are filming. 1 is weird. Blue light." Kara's stomach turned. "The same kind." Kara spoke, voice firm. "Don't engage close yet. I'm coming from above. I will disable the drones first. Then you move." Aizawa's voice cut in. "If you blow up the street..." "I won't," Kara said, sharp. "I know." She launched. Across the city, All for One watched through a dozen screens, each one showing chaos from a different angle. His breathing was calm. His posture was relaxed, like he was watching a play he had already rehearsed. Dr. Garaki stood beside him, hands clasped, eyes shining with hunger for results. "Her response time," Garaki whispered. "It's absurd." All for One smiled. "Not absurd. Predictable. A true hero cannot ignore a scream." Garaki glanced at a graph. "The pulse device is working?" All for One's smile widened. "It irritates her senses. Not enough to stop her, enough to create errors." Garaki chuckled softly. "Then we simply make her look like the problem." All for One leaned forward, eyes gleaming. "And we collect what we can. Data first, control later." On the screen, Kara crossed the city like a shooting star. Kara approached the shopping district from high above, where the air was clearer and the noise was smaller. Below, villains stood in a circle. Civilians were pressed together in the middle. A woman held a toddler. A man clutched his arm, bleeding. A teenage boy shook so badly he couldn't stand. Hawks was on a rooftop nearby, crouched, wings spread like a shield. His face was calm, but Kara could see his eyes. He was calculating every second. The drones hovered above the hostage circle. 2 were plain camera drones. The third was the one with the cold blue eye. It turned toward Kara as she arrived. The radio tone in her skull sharpened into a thin scream. Kara's jaw clenched. She moved first for the drones, not the villains. If she scared the civilians, the cameras would turn fear into a weapon. Kara shot down from above in a straight line. She didn't aim at the street. She aimed at the air. She reached the first normal drone and clipped it with 2 fingers. It spun and fell. Dead. The second drone tried to back away. Kara caught it and gently crushed its camera lens only, then let it drop. Then she turned to the blue-eyed drone. It fired a pulse. Kara's vision flickered. Not enough to blind her. Enough to make the world feel wrong for 1 second. Kara growled under her breath and grabbed it anyway. It buzzed. It blinked. It tried to escape. Kara squeezed until the blue light snapped off. The drone went limp. She held it for a moment, staring at it, anger rising. "This is not from here," she whispered. A villain below shouted, "Hey, Sky Girl, come down here." Kara forced her anger down. She hovered above them, not too low, keeping distance so civilians wouldn't feel boxed in. "Let them go," she said. The villain laughed and pointed up. "You want to be a hero? Do it right. Come take us." Hawks's voice crackled in her ear. "They want you on the ground. They want you close. There's something under the street." Kara's eyes narrowed. She listened. She heard a faint hum beneath the pavement. A machine. A coil. A trap. Kara spoke calmly. "You're not getting what you want." The villain's grin faltered. "What, you scared?" Kara didn't rise to it. She didn't shout. She didn't threaten. She simply moved her hand, palm down, and pressed. The air itself seemed to push. A controlled shockwave hit the villains like a strong wind. It knocked them off their feet without tearing the street apart. Civilians screamed anyway, because fear was fast. Kara winced. "Sorry," she called, voice softer. "Stay back. You're safe." Hawks moved in. Feathers shot out like darts, pinning villain wrists to the ground without cutting. Hawk's face stayed light, but his voice was cold. "Game over." One villain, desperate, raised a gun toward the civilians. Kara's eyes flashed red. Not a beam. A pinpoint. The gun's barrel melted shut. The villain stared, stunned. Hawks kicked the villain's legs out and bound them. The civilians were alive. But Kara's heart didn't calm, because the hum under the street was rising. "Kara," Hawk said, eyes up. "That machine." Kara didn't wait. She flew straight up, pulling herself away from the blast zone and shouting down, "Everyone back! Now!" The street erupted. A device detonated beneath the pavement, not like a bomb meant to kill, but like a blast meant to throw debris, smoke, panic, and footage into the air. Concrete shattered upward. Dust roared like a storm. Kara moved. She flew into the debris cloud and spun. Arms out, cape snapping. She caught chunks of concrete midair and threw them high, away from people, toward empty rooftops. She inhaled, then blew. Freeze breath. A cold burst that turned flying dust into heavier clumps that fell straight down instead of drifting into lungs. Hawk stared through the haze, eyes wide. "She's controlling the dust." Kara landed between the civilians and the collapsing storefront, holding the building's front wall with one hand, bracing it until evacuation was done. Her boots sank into cracked ground. She didn't mind. When the last civilian was clear, she set the wall down gently. Cameras caught her face. The city saw the cape, the power, the calm. And still, fear clung to the image like dirt. Because this world had learned to fear what it couldn't label. Kara heard the next scream. Not nearby. Across the city. The power station. All Might. She launched again. The power station looked like a war zone. Steel beams were bent. Cables whipped like snakes. Sparks rained. A huge multi-armed creature tore at supports, trying to bring the whole place down. All Might fought it head-on, muscles straining, jaw clenched. He was strong. He was fast. But the creature wasn't meant to beat him clean. It was meant to keep him busy. A blue-eyed drone hovered near a tower. It fired pulses at All Might too. All Might flinched, just slightly, and Kara saw it. Not because it hurt him like it hurt her. Because it disrupted timing, balance, focus. Kara's eyes went cold. She slammed into the multi-armed creature from the side with a shoulder check that sent it flying into an empty lot. The boom shook windows blocks away. All Might looked up, surprise flashing, then relief. "Kara," he called. Kara didn't waste time. "The drones," she said, pointing. All Might nodded, and in that nod Kara saw the truth. He trusted her. Kara shot upward and ripped the first drone out of the air. She crushed it in her fist. The second drone tried to flee. Kara caught it and tore it open, pieces falling like scraps. The third drone's blue eye blinked fast. It fired one last pulse straight at Kara's face. Kara's senses flared. Pain sparked behind her eyes. She gritted her teeth and grabbed it anyway. This time, she didn't just crush it. She listened. She pressed her ear close, like it was a shell. A faint signal pulsed from inside. Not a sound, but a pattern. A language of light. Kara's blood ran cold. "This isn't theirs," she whispered. All Might heard the tone in her voice. "What is it?" he asked. Kara didn't answer yet, because the multi-armed creature rose again, and behind it, more shapes appeared. Nomu. 3 more. Different builds, different quirks, different purposes. Garaki's work. Kara's chest tightened. They made more. All Might stepped forward, fists up. "Then we stop them." Kara nodded once. "We stop them." She moved first, because she could. She hit the first Nomu with a punch that launched it into the air. She followed, grabbed it by the ankle, and swung it like a hammer into the second Nomu. Both crashed into the empty lot, ground exploding. All Might took the third, slamming it back with a heavy strike, keeping it away from the station's main supports. Kara didn't enjoy this. She didn't smile. She fought with clean focus, always checking where bodies would land, where shockwaves would go, where civilians might still be hiding. The Nomu were strong, but strength wasn't the problem. The problem was the plan behind them. A blue light flashed from a rooftop far away. Another pulse device. Bigger. A wide one. Kara's knees buckled for half a second as her senses screamed. All Might staggered too, just a step. The Nomu surged, taking that moment. One Nomu leaped toward the station's core, hands out, ready to rip cables. If it succeeded, the whole grid could collapse. Fires could spread. Hospitals could lose power. Kara snapped forward. She didn't punch. She grabbed the Nomu by the throat and stopped it mid-air like it hit an invisible wall. Then she turned her head slightly and fired heat vision. Not at the Nomu. At the pulse device. A thin red line cut across the distance and hit the rooftop machine dead center. It melted in an instant. The pain in Kara's head faded. The world steadied. All Might took a deep breath. "Good," he said, voice rough. Kara threw the Nomu upward and followed. She hit it with 3 fast strikes, each one aimed to stun, not kill. The Nomu dropped, unconscious, smashing into the empty lot. The remaining Nomu hesitated. That hesitation was the first sign of something rare. Fear. Kara landed between them and the station. Her cape settled behind her. Her eyes scanned. "Who is controlling you?" she demanded. The Nomu didn't answer. It never would. But Kara wasn't really asking the Nomu. She was asking the mind behind it. In the darkness of his hidden room, All for One watched the feed. His smile was small, pleased. "She learns quickly," he said. Garaki's eyes shone. "And she destroys the devices." All for One nodded. "That is fine. We have enough." He leaned back, fingers steepled. "We wanted 3 things." Garaki tilted his head. "Yes?" All for One spoke like a teacher. 1. Her speed and restraint. 2. Her reaction to helpless people. 3. He smiled wider as Kara held the broken, blue-eyed drone to her ear, trying to understand its signal. 3. All for One said softly, "What else is hunting her?" Garaki shivered with excitement. "Ah." All for One tapped a key. A new screen lit up, a graph, a signal pattern, a location estimate. "Send them away," All for One ordered. Garaki nodded and pressed a button. On the battlefield, the remaining Nomu suddenly shifted. Not charging, retreating. They leaped away fast into smoke routes planned Zarania. All Might started to chase, but Kara grabbed his arm gently. "Wait," she said. All Might looked at her. "We can catch them." Kara shook her head. "They want us to chase. They want us far from people." All Might's eyes narrowed, understanding. He hated it, but he understood. Kara stared at the broken drone in her hand. It clicked softly, dying. But before it went silent, it sent one final ping into the sky. Kara's head snapped up. Far above the clouds, for just a blink, she saw a flicker of blue light. Like an eye-opening. The radio tone in her skull sharpened again. Not a test pulse this time. A reply. Kara's stomach dropped. All Might followed her gaze. "Kara?" Kara's voice was quiet, and for the first time since she arrived, it carried real fear. "Something answered," she said. All Might's face hardened. "From where?" Kara clenched the broken drone until it crumpled. "Not from this world," she whispered. And in the distance, across Musatafu, sirens kept screaming, as if the city already knew the truth. This wasn't just a new hero. This was a world-changing signal. And the people who planned in shadows had just learned exactly how to use it. The next day, Musatafu didn't wake up. It jolted awake. Every screen in the city played the same clips. A girl in a cape lifting a car like it was a backpack. A red line of heat slicing a weapon apart without burning the person holding it. A shockwave that knocked villains down and left civilians standing. The commentators talked fast. The captions screamed louder than the speakers. "Flying Girl saves hundreds. Is she a new hero? No quirk detected? Foreign weapon? At you. A." The halls buzzed like a beehive. Izuku Midoriya tried to walk to class, but he couldn't stop looking at his phone. Every time he refreshed, there was a new angle, a new slow-motion clip, a new person guessing what her quirk was. He heard students whisper, "Is she from America? Is it a mutation? My dad says it's a secret government hero. She moved like like she wasn't even trying. Deku's brain did what it always did. It made lists. Flight, strength, heat, freeze, speed, hearing. None of it fit a quirk category cleanly, not even the weird ones. And then there was the biggest part. She didn't look proud when she won. She looked worried. Deku turned a corner and nearly ran into Aizawa. His homeroom teacher looked even more tired than usual. His scarf hung loose. His eyes had that sharp, flat focus that meant he had been dealing with adults all morning. "Midoriya," Aizawa said. Deku straightened. "Yes, sir." "Stop watching clips," Aizawa said. "The internet will rot your brain." Deku flinched. "Sorry." Aizawa's gaze softened by 1 millimeter. "If you want to help, pay attention in class. And do not talk to her unless you're told." Deku blinked. "We're not allowed to?" Aizawa's phone buzzed. He looked at it, then sighed like the world was heavy. "There are meetings. There are rules. People are scared. That makes them stupid." He looked back at Deku. "Scared people do dumb things to feel safe. Remember that." Deku swallowed and nodded. "Yes, sir." Aizawa walked away. Deku looked down at his phone again anyway. On the screen, Kara Zor-El, though nobody in Japan knew that full name, yet stood on a bridge with her cape whipping in the wind, holding a wall in place with one hand. The clip ended right before her face tilted upward, like she heard something nobody else could. Deku's stomach tightened. Whatever she heard, it wasn't done. Kara sat in a quiet U.A. office that had been turned into a temporary holding space. It was too clean, too controlled, too full of cameras that tried to pretend they weren't there. A tablet rested on the desk in front of her. The screen was filled with boxes and lines and words that seemed designed to punish a person for wanting to do good. Hawk sat on the other side of the room, legs crossed, smiling like he was at a cafe. His wings were tucked neatly behind him. His eyes were not relaxed at all. "This one," Hawk said, pointing at the screen, "is the emergency response agreement. It's a temporary thing. It says you can operate under specific conditions." Kara stared at it. "Specific conditions?" "Yep," Hawk said brightly. "Like, do not fly over schools without notice, and do not appear on live television without approval." Kara's mouth opened. Then it closed. She took a slow breath through her nose. "People were dying yesterday." Hawks nodded. "And you saved them. You did great. But now everyone's nervous. When people get nervous, they don't ask, 'Did you do good?' They ask, 'Can you be stopped?'" Kara's fingers tightened on the stylus. The plastic creaked. Hawks noticed. "Hey, don't crush that. It's government property." Kara shot him a look. Hawks held up both hands. "Joke, mostly." The door opened. All Might stepped in, smaller than his hero form now. Shoulders still wide, but posture more human. His smile was gentle, but his eyes looked heavy. "Kara," he said. Kara's chest loosened a little. "You look tired." All Might chuckled softly. "I am always tired." Hawks stood and stretched. "I'll give you 2 a minute," he said, and slipped out like he was made of air. All Might sat across from Kara. "How are you holding up?" he asked. Kara looked down at the tablet. "I feel like I'm being put in a cage made of words." All Might nodded slowly. "That is not a bad description." Kara's voice dropped. "In my world, if you can save someone, you save them." "And here?" All Might asked. "Here, you fill out a form," Kara said flatly. All Might's smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. "Yes." Kara leaned back and stared at the ceiling. "I don't understand how you do it." All Might's face changed, just a little. "Do what?" "Be the symbol," Kara said. "Smile while you're being pulled apart by everyone's fear." All Might was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke, calm and honest. "I do it because people need it," he said. "They need to believe tomorrow will be better." Kara swallowed. "And what do you need?" All Might's smile faded. Not completely, but enough to show the truth. "I needed someone to share it with," he admitted. "I needed friends. I needed rest." Kara's throat tightened. All Might leaned forward slightly. "Kara, You arrived in a world that already has symbols. That is a dangerous place for someone like you. Someone like me, Kara repeated. All that power, All Might said softly. All that ability to act. It makes people feel small. Even good people. Even heroes. Kara's jaw clenched. I'm not trying to make anyone small. I know, All Might said at once. But feelings do not always listen to logic. Kara's eyes flicked toward the door, toward the hallway where she could hear footsteps. So many footsteps. So many heartbeats. I heard something yesterday, she said quietly. All Might stiffened. The signal. Kara nodded. It's still there. It's faint, but it's like a cold light behind my eyes. All Might's voice was careful. Do you know what it is? Kara shook her head. Not for sure. She hesitated, then admitted, but I have a bad guess. All Might didn't push. He just waited. Kara's hands curled into fists in her lap. In space, there are collectors, she said. Things that don't care about people. They care about rare items, rare worlds, rare lives. Krypton was rare. All Might's face hardened. And you think one of them noticed you? Kara looked up. I think something answered. All Might nodded once, slow and firm. Then we prepare. The door opened again, and the mood changed instantly. Aizawa stepped inside, followed by Principal Nezu. Nezu held a teacup like he was about to host a game night. His eyes said something else entirely. Aizawa didn't sit. We have a problem, he said. Kara stood. What now? Nezu smiled politely. The commission is arriving. Kara blinked. The commission. Aizawa's voice was flat. They want control. They want guarantees. They want you to sign more things. Kara stared. More? Nezu sipped tea. Many more. Kara let out a sound that was half laugh and half groan. I can stop a building from collapsing, but I can't stop paperwork. Aizawa's mouth twitched again, almost a smile. Almost. Then it vanished. Be careful, he said. They are not villains, but they are not your friends. The meeting room was bigger, brighter, more official. People in suits sat across a long table. Some were polite. Some looked like they were trying to memorize Kara's face so they could sleep at night. Hawks leaned against the wall, relaxed on purpose. It was a shield. A performance. Nezu sat at the head like a judge who wanted everyone to think it was a friendly talk. Aizawa stood behind Kara, silent, like a guard dog that didn't bark until it bit. All Might sat nearby, hands folded, calm like a lighthouse. A woman from the commission spoke first. Thank you for cooperating, she said. Kara nodded. I don't want trouble. The woman smiled tightly. Trouble is not what we want. Safety is. Kara's eyes narrowed. Safety for who? The woman didn't hesitate. For everyone. Kara leaned forward. Then, let me help. Another man in a suit slid a document across the table. We want to formalize your role. Kara looked at the title and felt her jaw tighten. Special asset operational terms. Asset. Not hero. Not person. Asset. Kara's voice was controlled but sharp. I'm not an asset. The man cleared his throat. It's standard language. It's insulting language, Kara said. Aizawa's eyes stayed half-lidded, but Kara felt his approval like a quiet nod. The commission woman kept her smile. You must understand. You are powerful. You are unknown. People are scared. Kara's hands pressed flat on the table. The wood creaked. People are scared of villains, too. Do you make villains sign forms? The room went tense. Hawks pushed off the wall and spoke smoothly. Okay. Let's not do the thing where everyone gets mad and nothing gets done. He pointed at another page. How about we start with something simpler? Temporary hero consultant. U.A. Supervision. Limited public exposure. Kara looked at him. Limited public exposure? Hawks shrugged. They're not wrong about one thing. If you show up in every incident, people will start to depend on you. Then they'll hate you when you can't fix everything. Kara's throat tightened. I can fix a lot. All Might spoke quietly, voice warm but firm. Not everything. Kara looked at him. All Might held her gaze. If you try to be everywhere, you will break yourself, he said. Not your body, your heart. Kara's eyes stung, and she hated that it did. Nezu set his tea down. There is another factor, he said calmly. The commission woman glanced at him. Principal Nezu? Nezu nodded. Our sensors detected a signal that may not be related to villain activity. We suspect Kara's arrival created a beacon of sorts. The commission man's eyes sharpened. A beacon to what? Nezu's smile didn't reach his eyes. That is the problem. We do not know. Kara's stomach twisted. She could feel it again, faint but present. That cold, thin call. A man in a suit leaned forward, voice hard. Then she is a risk. Kara's head snapped toward him. I didn't choose this. He spread his hands. Intent does not erase danger. Aizawa finally spoke, voice low. We're not throwing her out into the street like garbage. The man stared. We are not endangering our society because you feel sympathetic. Kara's fists clenched, heat pressed behind her eyes. All Might's hand lifted slightly. Not a command, a reminder. Restraint. Kara forced the heat down. She spoke slowly. I will follow reasonable rules, she said. I will work with you. I will do what I can to calm the public. She leaned forward, eyes bright. But I will not stand by while people die because someone wants me to fill out Form 12B. Hawks coughed. It's actually 12C now. Kara shot him a look. Hawks held up a feather like a peace sign. Sorry, had to. Nezu's ears twitched like he was amused. Then his gaze turned sharp again. We will do this properly, he said. For everyone's sake. And we will investigate the signal. Kara nodded once. Good. The commission woman studied Kara's face for a long moment. Then she said there will be watchers. Kara's stomach sank at the word. She held her voice steady. From you. The woman nodded. From us. From heroes. From society. Kara swallowed. Fine. Inside, she felt something colder. Because she knew something else was watching too. That night, quieted down, but Kara did not. She sat on a rooftop, knees drawn up, cape wrapped around her like a blanket she didn't need. The city spread out below like a field of lights. She could hear everything if she let herself, so she tried not to. She focused on smaller things. The wind, the hum of distant traffic, the soft footsteps of a security guard 3 buildings away. Her mind drifted to Krypton, the way it always did when she was alone. Bright skies, cold stone, voices she couldn't hear anymore. Her throat tightened. She pressed a fist to her chest and breathed. Then her head tilted. A sound brushed her senses. Not a siren. Not a scream. A pattern. A pulse. Kara stood fast, eyes scanning the dark sky. There. A small blue light hovered above the far edge of campus, near the tree line. It moved like a cautious animal. It wasn't one of the villain drones from yesterday. This one was quieter, smarter. It didn't buzz loudly. It didn't flare bright. It watched. Kara's stomach turned. She moved without thinking, stepping off the roof and floating down, silent as a falling leaf. The light drifted away as soon as she moved, staying just out of reach, leading her. Kara followed, careful not to break walls or trees. It guided her past the training fields, past quiet buildings, toward a darker patch of land near a storage area. The blue light stopped. Then it changed shape. Kara's eyes widened. The object unfolded like a flower made of metal. Thin pieces spread out, forming a ring with a glowing center. It wasn't a drone from this world. It was too clean, too precise, too wrong. Kara took one step forward. Who are you? The ring pulsed once. A line of light scanned her from head to toe. Kara felt it like a cold touch on her skin. Her fists clenched. No, she said. The ring pulsed again, and the signal in her skull spiked, sharper than ever. Kara staggered, eyes narrowing. Then she saw something in the air. A thin shimmer, like a doorway trying to form. Not fully open. Not stable. But trying. Kara's heart slammed in her chest. You're trying to open a rift. The ring pulsed a third time. Kara's anger rose. Stop it. She launched forward and grabbed the ring with both hands. It fought her grip with a sudden burst of force. Not strength like a punch. Force like a field. Kara gritted her teeth and squeezed anyway. Metal bent. The ring's light flickered wildly. Kara heard footsteps rushing in. Aizawa's voice cut through the night. Kara. Aizawa slid into view, scarf snapping out, eyes locked on the object. He looked from the ring to Kara's hands. His erasure wouldn't help, but his mind would. What is that? He demanded. Kara's voice was tight. Not from here. The ring pulsed hard, and Kara's head snapped back as the signal stabbed her senses. Aizawa cursed under his breath. It's targeting you. Kara forced her eyes open. It's calling something. Aizawa's scarf wrapped around the ring, trying to pin it. The ring responded by releasing a burst of light so bright it turned the trees into sharp shadows. Kara reacted instantly. She turned her body and shielded Aizawa with her cape and shoulder, blocking the blast. When the light faded, Kara looked down. Aizawa was fine, but his eyes were wide, not with fear of being hurt. With fear of what Kara had just done without thinking. Protected him. Like it was natural. Kara's chest rose and fell fast. Are you okay? Aizawa stared at her for half a second, then snapped back to the threat. Yes, break it. Kara nodded and squeezed again. The ring cracked, but instead of breaking like normal metal, it released a final pulse and then collapsed inward like it was folding itself to escape. Kara's eyes flared red. She didn't blast wildly. She cut the glowing center with a clean line. The ring went dark. It fell apart in her hands, pieces dropping into the grass. Kara stood there, breathing hard, staring at the broken parts like they were a dead insect she hated. Aizawa stepped closer, eyes scanning the debris. This isn't their tech. Kara's voice came out rough. It's like someone recognized me. Aizawa's jaw tightened. And now they know where you are. Kara's throat tightened too. They were already answering. She looked up at the sky. It looked normal, but she didn't trust it. Aizawa watched her face. You're thinking about leaving. Kara swallowed. If I stay, I bring danger. Aizawa's voice was blunt, but not cruel. If you leave, you bring danger somewhere else. And people here will still be targeted because villains already built plans around you. Kara stared at him. You don't trust me. Aizawa didn't deny it. Trust isn't a switch. It's built. Kara's eyes burned. I'm trying. Aizawa's gaze held steady. Then stop reacting. Start planning. Kara's breathing slowed. Planning. That was something she could do. She looked down at the broken ring parts. Then she looked at Aizawa. I need to find the tear, she said. Where it came from. Why it opened. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. How? Kara's voice steadied. I make a beacon. Something that can trace the path. Something that can tell me if another rift is forming. Aizawa stared at her for a moment. Then he nodded once. I'll talk to Nezu. Kara swallowed. And the commission? Aizawa's mouth tightened. They'll hate it. Which means it might be the right move. Kara let out a short breath that almost sounded like a laugh. For the first time since she arrived, she felt something close to control. Not over the world. Over herself. She looked at the city lights and whispered, okay. Then she turned and walked back toward the school. Not to rest. To prepare. The next morning, the support course lab smelled like hot metal and oil and pure chaos. Mei Hatsume popped up from behind a pile of tools like a happy gremlin. Her goggles were pushed up on her forehead. Her grin was huge. So you're the flying girl, she shouted. Kara flinched at the volume. Hi. Mei grabbed Kara's hand like they were best friends already. I watched your clips 12 times, she said fast. Your control is crazy. Your speed is crazy. Your heat beam is crazy. Your freeze breath is... Please breathe, Kara said. Mei sucked in a breath. Okay, now. Principal Nezu says you want a beacon thing. Kara nodded. Something that can track the energy of the tier. Something that can warn us if it happens again. May's eyes gleamed. That is so cool. A tall, broad teacher with a helmet-like headpiece power loader stood nearby, arms crossed. It's also dangerous, he said. Kara nodded. I know. Aizawa leaned against the wall, watching. We do it controlled, he said. And if anything feels wrong, we stop. Kara looked at him. Agreed. May slapped a blueprint down on a table. It was messy. It had arrows everywhere and happy face doodles next to important parts. This is my first idea, May said. We take your heat vision energy, but tiny, tiny, tiny. We feed it into a sensor grid. We map the pulse. We look for the same pattern as the rift. Kara stared. You can do that? May pointed at herself with both thumbs. I can do anything. Power loader coughed. Within reason. May ignored him. Also, we need to keep it away from civilians. So we test at a remote site. Nezu's voice came through a speaker on the wall, calm and cheerful. We have arranged a coastal training platform for this purpose. Kara blinked. You planned this fast. Nezu's voice stayed light. I dislike surprises. Aizawa muttered. He hates surprises. May clapped her hands. Okay. Step 1. I need a sample of your energy pattern. Kara hesitated. A sample? May nodded. Not blood, not hair. Just you doing your thing near my sensors. Kara looked at the devices on the table. They looked small, fragile. Will I break them? Kara asked. May grinned. Probably. Kara sighed. Great. May pushed goggles down over her eyes. Don't worry. I build backups for my backups. Kara lifted a hand. A small red glow flickered in her eyes. May shouted, Wait, tiny, tiny. Kara pinched her fingers close together. Tiny. She fired a thin line of heat at a metal plate designed to absorb it. The plate glowed, then hummed, then cracked straight down the middle like it had been cut with a knife. May stared, then squealed with joy. Yes, that's it. Power loader groaned. That was the reinforced plate. Kara winced. Sorry. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. You said tiny. Kara looked embarrassed. That was tiny. May laughed. I believe her. Kara rubbed the back of her neck. In my world, tiny is different. May waved it off. We'll adjust. We always adjust. For the next hour, Kara stood still while May's sensors circled her. She breathed slow. She let out small bursts of heat vision and freeze breath. She hovered a few centimeters off the ground while machines recorded vibrations. May moved fast, talking to herself. Aizawa stayed quiet. His eyes never stopped scanning. Kara could feel how tense he was. Not because he hated her. Because his job was to expect the worst. At one point, Kara's hearing caught a faint, familiar pattern. A cold pulse in the far distance. Kara stiffened. Aizawa noticed instantly. What? Kara swallowed. The signal, she whispered. It's faint, but it's there. May froze mid-step. Wait, you can hear it? Kara nodded. Yes. May's grin faded for the first time. That is, not good. Aizawa's voice was flat. We finish fast. Kara nodded. We finish smart. They moved to the coastal platform by afternoon. It was a wide, empty structure built for training and disaster drills. Ocean on all sides. No crowds. No buildings to collapse onto people. Wind whipped hard. Waves crashed below. Kara liked it. It felt open. It felt like she could breathe. May set up equipment in the center of the platform. Poles with sensors. A thick circular frame that looked like a gate without a door. This is the beacon frame, May said, shouting over wind. It's not going to open anything by itself. It's going to listen. Kara nodded. Good. Aizawa and Hawks stood near a portable command station. Hawks had a tablet. Aizawa had his scarf and his stare. All Might arrived a few minutes later, stepping off a helicopter with that steady, reassuring presence. He looked at Kara and smiled. Good choice of location. Kara nodded. If something goes wrong, it goes wrong over water. All Might's smile tightened. Let's make sure it doesn't. May pointed at Kara. Okay, you stand here. You do the smallest burst you can. We feed it into the frame. Kara stepped into position. She centered herself. She thought about the crack in the sky, the way it felt, the way it sounded. She opened her senses slightly, just enough. The signal hummed faintly behind everything, like a quiet, patient enemy. Kara raised her hand. A small red line of heat flashed from her eyes into the frame's core. The frame lit up, lines of light running along it like veins. May whooped. "It's working." Nezu's voice crackled through a comm line. "We are receiving the pattern at you." Aizawa's eyes stayed locked on Kara's face. "How do you feel?" Kara swallowed. "Fine." Then the air changed. A cold tingle ran down Kara's spine. Her head snapped up. The sky above the ocean shimmered. Not a full tear. Not yet. But a ripple, like something pushing from the other side. Hawks swore softly. "That's new." May's voice went small. "It's reacting." Kara's fists clenched. "It hurt us." All Might stepped forward. "Kara, stop the beam." Kara cut it off instantly. The frame's light dimmed, but the shimmer in the sky didn't fade right away. It held, pulsing once, like a heartbeat. Kara's stomach dropped. Then something fell out of the shimmer. Not a person. A machine. It dropped fast, like it was heavy and confident. It hit the platform with a loud metallic clang and unfolded in seconds. It was taller than a human. Smooth black metal. Blue lights. No face. No mouth. Just a single glowing eye at its center. And around that eye, thin rings spun like it was measuring the world. May whispered, "That is not you. Tech." Aizawa's scarf snapped up. "Everyone behind me." Hawk spread his wings, feathers lifted, ready. All Might stepped beside Kara, shoulders squared. Kara stared at the machine, heart pounding. She had seen things like this before. Collectors. Probes. Machines that didn't care if you begged. The machine's eye turned toward Kara. The signal in her skull screamed. Kara winced and took a step forward anyway. "No," she said firmly. "You don't get to do this again." The machine pulsed. A blue wave spread outward like a scan. It hit All Might and Hawks and Aizawa and May. None of them fell, but they all flinched. Their eyes widened at the same time, like they had just felt something impossible. May whispered, "It's reading us." Aizawa's jaw tightened. "Kara, if it targets you..." "It already is," Kara said. The machine raised an arm. A beam of blue light shot out, not as an attack on the body, but as a field. It wrapped around Kara like a net made of cold. Kara's muscles tensed. She tried to move. The field resisted, not stopping her, just slowing her enough to matter. Hawks fired feathers at the machine's joints. They hit and bounced off, sparks flying. All Might rushed forward and punched the machine's chest. The punch sounded like thunder. The machine slid back 2 meters, metal bending slightly. Then it straightened, like it healed itself. All Might's eyes widened. "Regeneration?" May shouted. "It's repairing." Kara growled and pushed against the blue field. Her strength climbed. The field strained. The machine's eye blinked faster, like it was shocked she could resist. Kara's eyes flared red. She fired heat vision at the field around her. The heat didn't burn it like normal energy. It made the field flicker. That was enough. Kara broke free in one hard motion, and the blue net snapped apart like thread. She flew straight at the machine and grabbed it by the head. The metal was cold. Too cold. Kara pulled it up into the air, away from the platform. The machine responded instantly. Its rings spun faster. A second blue wave pulsed out. This time, it didn't hit Kara. It hit the platform below. And the platform changed. A section of it shimmered and then shrank. Not slowly. Instantly. A chunk of metal floor the size of a car compressed into a glowing cube and lifted into the air, floating toward the machine like it was being collected. May screamed, "It's taking the platform." Aizawa's eyes widened. "It's capturing matter." Hawk snapped, "That's not matter. That's us if we're standing there." All Might sprinted and grabbed May by the collar, yanking her back as another section of platform shimmered. Kara's heart slammed. This was the pressure she couldn't punch. If the machine took people, they were gone. She tightened her grip and slammed the machine down toward the ocean. The machine twisted in midair, unnaturally smooth, and fired a blue beam at the water. The beam struck, and a massive column of ocean compressed into a floating cube of dense, churning water. Kara's eyes widened. It can take water too. The machine wasn't just fighting. It was sampling, collecting, like the world was a store shelf. Kara gritted her teeth. No. She shot upward, pulling the machine higher, away from the platform, forcing the fight into open air. The machine's eyes stayed fixed on her, and its rings spun like it was solving her. It pulsed again. Kara's senses screamed. She clenched her jaw and pushed through it. Below, Hawks shouted into comms, "This is not villain tech. We need backup." Aizawa barked, "Evacuate the platform edges. No one stands near the shimmer zones." May was shaking with fear and excitement at the same time. It's like a portable capture system. All Might's face was grim. "Kara, can you disable it?" Kara's voice was tight. "Maybe, but if I destroy it wrong, whatever it collected could be lost." All Might understood instantly. If she shattered it, the cubes might vanish. People could vanish with them. Kara flew higher with the machine, forcing it away from the platform. The machine responded by changing tactics. Its arms split into smaller arms, and thin blue cables shot out, trying to wrap around Kara's wrists, her cape, her throat. Kara tore them off like string. Then the machine did something worse. It pulsed toward the beacon frame May had built. The frame on the platform lit up, and the sky shimmered again. Kara's blood ran cold. "It's using the beacon," Aizawa shouted. "May, shut it down." May scrambled, hands moving fast on a control panel. "I'm trying. It's overriding." Hawks fired feathers into the beacon frame's connectors, trying to sever lines without blowing it up. All Might grabbed a support beam and ripped it free, slamming it into the frame's base to knock it sideways. The frame toppled. The shimmer in the sky wavered. Kara used that moment. She stopped playing tug-of-war with the machine. She went precise. She spun behind it, locked her arms around its torso, and squeezed until the metal groaned. Then she fired heat vision straight into its back panel, tight, controlled, like surgery. The panel melted open. Inside, blue light throbbed like a heart. Kara's eyes narrowed. She could feel it. It wasn't just power. It was a message, a tracker. She reached inside with 2 fingers and pinched the glowing core. The machine convulsed. Its rings spun wildly. The blue cable snapped back. The machine tried to fire again, but the beam stuttered. Kara ripped the core free. The machine went still for half a second. Then it did something that made Kara's stomach drop. It folded inward, not breaking, leaving. A rift shimmered open around it, like a door responding to a key. Kara lunged to grab it, but the air twisted, and the machine slipped through like it was never here. The rift snapped shut. Silence hit. Only wind and waves remained. Kara hovered in the air, holding the glowing blue core in her hand, breathing hard. Below, the platform was damaged but still standing. 2 cubes of compressed matter, 1 metal, 1 water, floated in the air for a second longer. Then they dropped. The water cube hit the ocean and exploded back into normal waves. The metal cube struck the platform and unfolded back into normal steel, dented but present. No one had been taken. Not today. Kara dropped down and landed, boots scraping. All Might hurried to her side. "Are you hurt?" Kara shook her head. "No." Hawks stared at the sky where the rift had been. "That thing just proved something," he said quietly. Aizawa's voice was low. "The anomaly isn't just you." May clutched her destroyed panel, eyes wide. "It came because we called." Kara looked down at the core in her palm. It pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat that wasn't hers. Kara's voice came out rough. "It wasn't here to fight. It was here to study." All Might's jaw tightened. "And now it knows our world exists." Kara nodded, swallowing hard. and it knows I'm here. Hawks's gaze slid to Kara. So what's the plan, Sky Girl? Kara's eyes lifted, steady now. No more accidental calls, she said. If it listens, then we make it listen to what we choose. Aizawa frowned. Meaning? Kara closed her fist around the core carefully, like she was holding a bomb and a key at the same time. Meaning we build the beacon again, she said. But this time, it's not just a listener. May's eyes lit up despite the fear. A trap. Kara nodded. A map. A warning system. A way to trace where it came from. All Might looked at her, serious. That could bring more. Kara met his gaze. It already will, whether we act or not. Aizawa exhaled through his nose. The commission is going to love this. Kara almost smiled, tired and sharp. I'll fill out Form 12C. Hawks snorted. Now that's growth. Kara looked back at the sky one more time. In her mind, the cold signal still hummed, faint but steady. It wasn't gone. It was patient. And now, so was she. Back in the shadows, All for One watched a recording of the coastal incident from 3 different angles. He didn't frown. He didn't rage. He simply smiled like a man who had just been handed a new game. Dr. Garaki stood beside him, trembling with excitement. That machine. It wasn't ours, he whispered. All for One's eyes gleamed. I know. Garaki tapped the screen where the rift opened. So there are larger forces. All for One nodded. And they are curious. Garaki's voice shook. They can compress matter, capture, store. All for One's smile widened. A perfect cage. Garaki looked at him. For her? All for One's gaze stayed on Kara's face as she held the glowing core. For everyone, he said softly. If I can learn to aim that curiosity, I can reshape this world. Garaki's eyes darted. Should we attack now, while she is distracted? All for One chuckled. No. He leaned back. Now we do what wise hunters do. He tapped the screen once. We let the bigger predator circle first, All for One said. And we learn where it bites. In the dark, his smile didn't look friendly at all. It looked hungry. 2 weeks passed, and Kara learned something she didn't expect. Saving people was easy compared to living inside a system. Her mornings started before sunrise. Not because anyone ordered her to, because she could not ignore the sounds. A distant fire alarm, a crash, a small cry that slipped through walls and streets. She stood on the roof of U.A. with the cold wind on her face and forced herself to listen in layers. First, the campus. Safe. Quiet. Then, the nearby neighborhoods. Mostly calm. Then, the wider city. Too much. If she opened her hearing all the way, it hit her like a flood. So she practiced shutting doors inside her mind. Not fully. Just enough to keep her steady. Aizawa called it self-control training. Kara called it not breaking. She still went out. Just not like before. Now, she went with a plan. Hawks arranged routes. Aizawa set rules. Nezu created response codes that sounded like weather reports but really meant, go now. Wait. Too risky. Send other heroes. And every time Kara wanted to fly out without permission, there was the gag. A clipboard. A form. A signature. The first time she complained, Hawk said, "Welcome to Hero Society." The second time she complained, Aizawa said, "Stop whining." The third time she complained, All Might handed her a pen like it was a weapon and said, "A true hero can defeat any foe." Kara stared at the pen. This is the worst foe. All Might laughed so hard he almost choked. Kara didn't laugh much those days, but that one got her. Between patrols and meetings, U.A. tried to keep life normal. Students still trained, teachers still lectured, lunch bells still rang. But the air was different. Everyone knew something larger was circling their world. Kara felt it too. The cold signal still hummed at the edge of her senses. It wasn't loud all the time, but it was steady, like a watcher with endless patience. And Kara kept the blue core locked inside a reinforced case in Nezu's office, wrapped in shielding that May swore was totally safe. May also said totally safe about things that exploded. So Kara didn't relax. Not once. Izuku Midoriya stood at the edge of training ground Beta with his notebook open, trying to act normal. He failed. His eyes kept flicking toward the far end of the field, where Kara hovered a few feet above the ground, arms folded, cape fluttering. She wasn't training like a student. She was training like someone trying to become smaller on purpose. Aizawa had cones and painted lines set up. There were dummy targets. There were also thick concrete blocks stacked like a wall. Again, Aizawa said, voice flat. Kara nodded. She floated forward and held a hand out. Her eyes glowed red. A thin line of heat flashed and sliced a tiny notch out of a metal bolt on one of the blocks. Just a notch. No sparks, no fire. The bolt snapped, and the block shifted, sliding into place like it was part of a puzzle. Aizawa nodded once. Better. Deku's mouth hung open. Kara turned her head and looked at him. Deku snapped his mouth shut and bowed too hard. Sorry, I wasn't. I was watching, but respectfully. Kara blinked, then her expression softened. It's okay. Aizawa's eyes slid to Deku. Midoriya, why are you here? Deku held up his notebook like it was a shield. I wanted to understand her abilities so I can help if something happens. With strategy, not fighting. Aizawa didn't look convinced. Kara spoke first. Let him stay, she said. He's not wrong. Aizawa sighed like the world was annoying. Fine, but no stupid questions. Deku nodded so fast it looked like his head might fall off. Yes, sir. Kara floated down, boots touching the ground softly. Deku stepped closer, then stopped himself. He didn't want to invade her space. He remembered what Aizawa said about scared people doing dumb things. He tried to be calm. Kara, Deku said carefully. Can I ask one thing? Kara's shoulders lifted slightly, like she was bracing for another form. Okay. Why do you hold back so much? Deku asked. I get it. Collateral damage. But you could stop most problems instantly. Kara stared at the training blocks for a moment. Then she answered in a voice that was simple and honest. Because if I solve everything, she said, everyone else stops growing. Deku blinked. Kara looked at him. I don't want to be a giant shadow over your world. I want to help your world stand on its own. Deku swallowed. That hit him in a place he didn't have words for. Aizawa watched Kara's face. Eyes narrowed. He didn't trust easily. But he listened. Deku hesitated. And the signal you mentioned? Is it still there? Kara's jaw tightened. Yes. Deku's hands clenched around his notebook. Are you scared? Kara didn't answer fast. She could have said no and looked strong. She could have lied. Instead, she chose the truth. Yes, she said. Deku's eyes widened. Kara met his gaze. Not of being hurt, she added. I'm scared of being the reason your people get taken. Deku swallowed hard. Taken, like those cubes. Kara nodded once. Aizawa's scarf twitched at the memory. Kara looked past them, toward the ocean side of the campus. Whatever that machine was, it didn't care who it grabbed. It only cared about collecting. Deku's voice went small. Like a villain? Kara's face tightened. Worse than a villain. A villain wants something from you. This thing wants to store you like you're a rock. Aizawa spoke, low. We will stop it. Kara looked at him. Aizawa's expression stayed flat, but there was something under it. Determination. Responsibility. Kara nodded. We will. Deku took a breath. Then, can I ask another thing? Aizawa's eyes sharpened. Midoriya. Deku rushed. Just your hero name. People keep calling you Sky Girl or Caped Girl, and it's kind of rude. Kara blinked like she hadn't thought about it. Because she hadn't. Names mattered. But lately, she had been too busy trying to keep worlds from tearing open. Kara started. She felt a pinch in her chest. In her world, she had a name, a symbol, a connection to someone who had taught her hope. She looked at All Might's training field in the distance, at the big Hero Society banners, at the students who carried dreams like backpacks. And she realized something. This world needed symbols too. Not assets, not weapons. Symbols. Kara's voice came out steady. "I'll tell you soon." Deku nodded, satisfied, like he had just been given a promise he could trust. That afternoon, the commission returned with smiles that didn't reach their eyes. Kara sat in the same meeting room as before, Nezu at the head, Hawks at the wall, Aizawa standing behind her, All Might seated nearby like an anchor. The commission woman slid a folder across the table. "We are ready to finalize your temporary status," she said. Kara opened it. More words, more conditions, more limits. One page stood out, bold and clean. Public hero designation. "You want me to choose a name?" Kara said. "It will calm the public," the woman replied. "If you are going to appear, you must be categorized." Kara's jaw tightened at the word categorized. Hawks spoke lightly, like he was diffusing a bomb with a joke. "It's true, though. People like labels. They don't always deserve them, but they like them." Kara glanced at All Might. All Might gave a small nod. "A name can be a promise," he said. Kara looked back at the page. She thought of Krypton. She thought of her cousin, the first person she had ever watched fly, and thought, that's what hope looks like. She thought of the people on the bridge staring at her with fear and awe mixed together. She didn't want their fear. She wanted their courage. She lifted the pen. The commission woman watched closely, like she was watching a lock turn. Kara wrote one word. Supergirl. The room went quiet. Hawks blinked. Bold. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "Why that?" Kara didn't smile, but her voice warmed. "Because I'm not a weapon," she said. "I'm not an asset. I'm a hero. And because there's someone out there, someone I learned from who believed a symbol could help people stand up again." The commission woman's lips tightened. "We will approve it," she said, like she was swallowing something she didn't like. Nezu's ears twitched. "Very well," he said. "Supergirl it is." Kara felt a strange twist in her chest. It hurt. It also made her feel less alone. All Might's eyes softened. He understood more than he said. Aizawa didn't look away. "A name won't protect you," he said. Kara nodded. "I know." That night, Kara woke up before she fully opened her eyes. Because the signal wasn't faint anymore. It was close. It buzzed through her skull like a cold bell. Her senses flared. Her skin prickled. The air itself felt tense, like a storm was about to break. She sat up in her small U. Guest room. Heart pounding. Then she heard it. Not a scream. A pattern. A call. Kara shot to her feet and moved to the window. Above the city, a line of blue light blinked twice. A point in the sky. Like a marker. Kara's fists clenched. She grabbed her communicator and spoke fast. "Aizawa. All Might. Hawks. It's happening." Aizawa answered instantly, voice rough with sleep but sharp. "Where?" Kara's eyes tracked the sky marker. "North Industrial Zone," she said. "Near the old freight yards." Hawks's voice cut in, already moving. "That's a perfect place for a trap." Kara's jaw tightened. "I know." All Might's voice came through, steady. "Do not go alone." Kara swallowed. She already wanted to fly. Every second felt like it mattered. But she forced herself to breathe. "Okay," she said. "I'll wait 3. The signal spiked again. Kara winced and grabbed the window frame. Something was opening. Now. She didn't have 3 minutes. "I can't," Kara said, voice tight. "It's opening now." Aizawa swore. "Hawks. Call Endeavor. All Might. Move." All Might's voice was calm. "Kara, go. Keep people safe. Do not chase into a rift." Kara didn't answer with words. She answered by launching. The air outside was cold and fast. The city lights streaked under her like lines. As she flew, Kara listened for civilians, for cars, for heartbeats. The industrial zone was mostly empty. Mostly. She heard 3, 4, 5 heartbeats in a warehouse near the marker. And one of them was too fast, too scared, Kara's stomach sank. Hostages. A trap. She arrived above the freight yards and hovered, scanning. The blue marker wasn't a light in the sky anymore. It was a ring on the ground, carved into the concrete with glowing lines. The lines pulsed like they were breathing. And in the center of the ring sat a familiar shape. A frame. A beacon frame. Bigger than May's. Cleaner. More violent. Kara's eyes narrowed. All for one. She didn't know how she knew. She just did. This was how villains in this world worked. They stole. They built. They waited until you rushed in. Kara lowered herself slowly, landing at the edge of the glowing ring. The air smelled like metal and ozone. A speaker crackled from the warehouse roof. A calm voice came out. "Supergirl," it said, like he had practiced the name. "How polite of you to choose a brand." Kara's blood turned cold. She looked up. A figure stood in shadow, tall, still, surrounded by bodyguards that didn't breathe right. Nomu. And beside him, a doctor-like man with nervous hands. Kara's fists clenched. All for one. All for one tilted his head. Yes. Kara's voice was flat. Let the hostages go. All for one didn't move. "You hear them," he said softly. "You always hear them." Kara's jaw tightened. All for one's tone stayed calm, almost gentle. "You are not from here. You lost your home, and now something else is hunting you." Kara didn't answer. All for one lifted a hand slightly, like he was offering a gift. "I can help you," he said. "I can open the tier. I can send you back. Or I can give you a new home here with authority, with control, with peace." Kara's eyes narrowed. "You don't want peace." All for one chuckled. "I want order." The beacon frame pulsed harder. The cold signal screamed in Kara's skull. Kara grimaced. "You built that to call it." All for one's smile widened. "I built it to speak to it." Kara's heart pounded. "You can't control it." All for one's eyes gleamed. "Maybe not, but I can bargain." The ring of light on the ground flared. The air above it shimmered. A rift started to open. Kara's body tensed, ready to smash the frame apart. Then she heard the hostages again. They were closer than she thought. They were under the warehouse floor. A hidden space. And the rift was opening toward them. Kara's throat tightened. All for one watched her face like he was reading a book. "Choose," he said. "Destroy the frame and risk the rift collapsing onto them. Or accept my offer and let me close it properly." Kara's hands trembled. Not from fear. From rage. Because he was using lives like chess pieces. Kara forced herself to slow down. Control. Small. Clean. She spoke into her communicator, voice low. "Hawks. Aizawa. He has hostages under the warehouse. The rift is opening on the ring. It's angled toward the building." Hawks's voice came back, tight. "We're 90 seconds out." Aizawa's voice followed. "Don't break the floor." Kara swallowed. "I know." All for one heard none of that, but he saw her focus. He smiled. Brave, stubborn, predictable. Kara looked at him, eyes hard. "You're not sending me home," she said. "You're not owning me, and you're not feeding people to that thing." All for one spread his hands. "Then show me how you win." The rift opened wider. A black metal shape pushed through, smooth and silent, eye glowing blue. Another collector unit. Not the same one. This one was larger. It dropped into the ring and turned its eye toward Kara. The signal in Kara's skull spiked so hard she nearly fell. All for one watched with calm interest. "Beautiful," he murmured. The collector pulsed. The warehouse wall shimmered. A chunk of it compressed into a cube. Kara's eyes widened. "No!" She launched forward and grabbed the cube midair, forcing it down. The cube unfolded back into normal material with a crack, but the collector pulsed again. The ground under Kara's feet shimmered. Kara shot upward instantly, refusing to let it tag her. She flew over the ring and punched the collector's chest. The hit sounded like a cannon. The collector slid backward, metal bending, then straightening again. It didn't react with anger. It reacted with attention. Its rings spun faster. It fired a blue net field at Kara. Kara dodged, the beam passing under her like a cold wave. She shot behind it and tried to rip its back panel open like last time. The collector's arms split into thin cables and wrapped her wrist. The cables didn't cut her. They anchored. The collector yanked, trying to pull her into the ring. Kara dug in, muscles tightening. The concrete cracked under the collector's feet as both forces fought. All for One watched, eyes bright. "Yes," he said softly. "Show me your limits." Kara heard a terrified sob from below. The hostages. She couldn't keep doing this above them. Kara made a choice. She stopped pulling against the cables. Instead, she pulled the collector upward with her. She rocketed straight up, dragging it out of the ring, away from the warehouse, away from the people under it. The collector resisted, but Kara was stronger than its anchor. They burst into the open sky above the freight yards. Wind roared. Kara snapped the cables off her wrist like they were rubber bands. The collector pulsed again, scanning her in midair. Kara felt it look into her, not with eyes, but with cold measurement. Then a voice touched her mind through the signal. Not words spoken aloud. Words shaped inside her head. Subject confirmed. Kryptonian. Surrender for preservation. Homeworld memory restoration available. Kara froze for one heartbeat. Her chest tightened like someone grabbed her heart. Homeworld memory. Krypton. A clean, safe version of Krypton, stored forever. No death, no loss, no screaming. Just a perfect cage made of memories. Kara's eyes stung. All for One's voice came through a speaker below, faint but clear. "You hear it, don't you?" he called. "It offers you what you want." Kara's throat tightened. She almost hated herself for how badly she wanted it. Then she heard the hostages again. Not memories. Real people. Real fear. And Kara remembered what her cousin taught her without saying it. Hope wasn't hiding inside a perfect box. Hope was choosing people again and again, even when it hurt. Kara's eyes hardened. "No," she said out loud. Simple. Final. She flew straight into the collector and slammed it downward, not toward the warehouse, but toward open ground beside the ring. They hit hard. The impact cracked the earth and threw dust outward. Kara rose from the dust and saw the collector trying to reorient. She didn't give it time. She grabbed its head with both hands and fired heat vision into its eye slit, tight and focused. The blue light flickered. The collector's rings spun wildly. It pulsed in panic and tried to collect the ground under Kara. Kara leaped off it and let the shimmer take empty dirt instead. A cube of soil floated up and then dropped harmlessly. Kara landed behind the collector and tore at its back panel again. This time it fought harder, metal trying to fold away. Kara forced it open anyway. Inside, a glowing core throbbed. Kara reached in. The collector's voice pressed into her mind again. Preservation promise. Homeworld restoration. Kara clenched her teeth. "You don't restore," she whispered. "You store." She ripped the core out. The collector convulsed. Its blue net field flickered and died. The rift ring below pulsed like it was angry. All for One shouted, "Do not break it. You'll lose the chance." Kara turned her head and looked down at him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were not kind. "You don't get chances," she said. Then she heard the hostages again. The warehouse floor was shimmering. Not from the collector now. From the beacon ring's feedback. All for One had built the frame to keep the rift stable. If the collector failed, the rift could collapse wrong. And wrong collapses could take walls, floors, and people with them. Kara's stomach dropped. She looked at the ring. Then she looked at the warehouse. Then she moved. She flew down and hovered above the building, listening. 5 heartbeats under the floor. She pinpointed them. Kara shot her heat vision, not as a weapon, but as a tool. A tight line cut through metal braces in a hidden hatch area. She peeled the hatch open gently and reached down. 5 people stared up at her from a cramped underground space. A family, 2 workers. A young hero trainee from another school, gagged and shaking. Kara's voice softened. "It's okay," she said. "I've got you." She lifted them out one by one, fast but careful, carrying them away from the warehouse and setting them down behind a far shipping container. Hawks arrived in a blur of feathers and wind, landing beside them. "We've got them," he said. Aizawa landed next, scarf snapping, eyes sharp. "Kara, the ring." Kara was already turning. All Might arrived with a heavy landing a second later, eyes locked on All for One. All for One stood still, calm as ever, like this wasn't a disaster for him. Because it wasn't. Not yet. The rift ring on the ground pulsed wildly. The air above it twisted. The opening wobbled. Kara could feel it. If it collapsed badly, it could rip through the concrete in a line. Kara looked at May's notes in her head. She remembered what happened when the collector folded and left. This ring was the anchor. She needed to kill the anchor cleanly. Aizawa's voice was sharp. "If you hit it wrong—" "I know," Kara said. She stepped into the ring. All Might shouted, "Kara!" Kara didn't look back. She knelt, placed both hands on the glowing lines, and closed her eyes. The signal screamed in her skull. Kara forced herself through it. She could feel the ring's pattern now. Like a code. Like a circuit. She focused her heat vision inward, not outward. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Her eyes glowed. The light didn't blast across the yard. It sank into the ring's lines like a needle sewing shut a wound. One section of the ring melted and fused. Then another. Kara worked fast, sealing segments, breaking the pattern without creating a sudden shock. The rift above flickered. It shrank. It tried to fight. Kara gritted her teeth and kept going. Finally, with a sharp hiss, the rift snapped shut. The ring's light died. Silence hit like a blanket. Kara exhaled and stood. Her knees shook slightly, not from exhaustion, but from the strain of fighting the signal while doing fine control. She looked up. All for One was already stepping backward into shadow. Hawks moved to pursue, but Aizawa's scarf snapped out and stopped him. "Don't," Aizawa said. "It's a route." All for One's voice drifted back, calm and pleased. "Excellent work, Supergirl," he called. "You chose your world." Kara's fists clenched. All for One's tone turned almost friendly. "Now I know what you'll do every time." Then he was gone. Only empty freight yards remained. All Might stepped beside Kara, face hard. "He used you." Kara swallowed, staring at the dead ring. "I know." Aizawa's voice was flat. "And you still saved them." Kara looked at Aizawa. He didn't smile, but he didn't accuse her either. That was progress. Hawks sighed and flopped onto a container like he was exhausted on purpose. "We're going to have so many reports." Kara let out a tired breath that was almost a laugh. "I'll sign them." Hawks grinned. "Look at you, becoming a local." Kara's gaze lifted to the sky. The cold signal was quieter now. Not gone, but quiet. Like it had learned something too. Kara's voice was low. "It offered me Krypton." All Might's eyes softened and his jaw clenched at the same time. "And you refused?" Kara nodded once. "Because it wasn't real." Aizawa's scarf settled. "Good." All Might looked at her. Serious. "Kara. Supergirl. You don't have to carry this alone." Kara's throat tightened. She looked at the heroes around her. The tired teacher who planned for the worst. The winged man who smiled to hide knives. The symbol who still tried to be warm even when the world was heavy. And Kara realized something. This world didn't just need her strength. It needed her choice. She nodded. "Then don't leave me alone," she said simply. All Might smiled. "We won't." The next week, Musatafu had a new story. Not just Flying Girl. A name appeared on official broadcasts. A symbol on carefully released footage. Supergirl. The city reacted like it always did. Some people cheered. Some people argued. Some people said it was fake. Some people said it was terrifying. Kara watched it from you. Arms folded, face blank. The noise outside was loud, but she had learned how to keep it from cutting her open. Nezu sent her a folder with her new temporary consultant license. Kara stared at it. Then she stared at the stack of additional forms. Then she looked at Hawks. "You're enjoying this," she accused. Hawks smiled. A little. Aizawa walked past with a coffee and said, "Stop complaining." Kara huffed, "I'm not complaining." Aizawa didn't stop walking. "You're literally complaining." All Might laughed from down the hall. And for a moment, Kara felt something she hadn't felt since she fell through that crack in the sky. Not peace, but a routine, a life, a reason. The rooftop at sunrise was quiet in a way Kara had started to love. The air was cold. The sky was pale pink. The city below looked softer when it was half asleep. Kara stood near the edge, cape hanging straight down in the still wind. Izuku Midoriya stepped out onto the roof with 2 cups of warm tea, moving like he wasn't sure he was allowed to exist near her yet. He held one out. "I asked first," he said quickly. "The nurse said it was okay." Kara took it. The cup felt warm through her gloves. "Thanks." Deku didn't stand too close. He stared out at the city, eyes thoughtful. "It's weird," he said. Kara glanced at him. "What is?" Deku swallowed. "Knowing someone like you is here, and still seeing crime happen, still seeing villains, still seeing fear." Kara nodded slowly. "Power doesn't erase fear," she said. "Sometimes it makes fear louder." Deku looked down at his hands. "I thought if I got strong enough, I could fix everything." Kara's voice stayed gentle. "You can fix a lot," she said, "but no one fixes everything alone." Deku glanced up. "You really believe that?" Kara's gaze stayed on the sunrise. "I didn't," she admitted. "Not at first." Deku waited. Kara breathed in, then out. "Back home, I lost everything once. I spent a long time thinking I had to fill the hole by being perfect, by saving faster, by being everywhere." She tightened her grip on the cup. "That doesn't work." Deku nodded slowly, like he was storing the lesson deep. Footsteps came onto the roof behind them. All Might, in his smaller form, carrying a thick folder under one arm. Kara's eyes narrowed at the folder. "No." All Might smiled like an innocent man. "Yes." He held it out. Kara stared. "What is it?" All Might's smile grew. "Your updated response protocols." Kara's shoulders slumped. "At sunrise? All times are paperwork times," All Might said, still smiling. Deku tried not to laugh and failed. Kara let out a long sigh, then took the folder with both hands like it was a heavy dumbbell. All Might stepped beside her and looked out at the city. For a moment, none of them spoke. Just wind, distant birds, the faint hum of a world waking up. All Might's voice turned quiet. "You did the right thing," he said. "In the freight yards." Kara didn't look at him. "All for One got away." All Might nodded. "He often does. That is why he is dangerous." Kara's jaw tightened. "And the Collector will come again." All Might's face hardened. "Then we will be ready again." Kara finally looked at him. "You're not scared?" All Might smiled, small and real. "Of course I am," he said. "But a symbol does not pretend fear doesn't exist. A symbol shows people how to stand up while feeling it." Kara swallowed. Deku looked between them, eyes bright with something like hope. Kara turned back toward the city. She could hear a siren far away. She could hear someone yelling. She could hear the world asking for help, like it always did. She held the folder under one arm, tea in the other hand, and let out a tired breath. Then she smiled. Just a little. "Okay," Kara said. "Not like a surrender, like a choice." She stepped forward, lifted off the roof, and hovered for a heartbeat in the sunrise light. Below, the city kept moving. Villains still planned. Heroes still trained. People still argued about what to fear. But now, when the sky changed, the world had a new name for the thing that answered. And Kara kept flying anyway because hope didn't need permission, but it did need someone who would show up.